stand. You see proud families, friends and neighbors, sharing gifts and helping hands. We're people helping people, and we're proud that we can say we're always getting better and growing stronger every day. Taking pride in Mobile, haven't you noticed? We've got it all right here at home. Nothing can stop us. Taking pride in where we're going, taking pride in who we are. Mobile, show your pride. Together we'll go far. There's a feeling of excitement, you can see it everywhere. The pride of our whole region is the heartbeat that we share. The heartbeat that we share. Taking pride in Mobile. Haven't you noticed? We've got it all right here at home. Nothing can stop us. Taking pride in where we're going. Taking pride in who we are. Mobile, show your pride. Together we'll go far. Mobile, show your pride. Together we'll go far.
Come ride a little train going down the track at the junction. Woo, woo! Very cool junction. There's old Uncle Joe moving kind of slow at the junction. Woo, woo! Very cool junction. I will return.
Message deleted.
Blurrett Boulevard, Highway 98 from Daphne to I-10. It's a 10-minute drive. I'm Lisa Baquet. Follow us on X, Total Traffic Gulf Coast.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's new Biggie Deals. Choose one of Wendy's new Biggie Deals at $4, $6, and $8. The new Biggie Deals are bigger and biggier than ever. For a pretty biggie deal, gotta be Wendy's. U.S. price and participation may vary.
If you see traffic trouble, call the Acadian Windows traffic tip line at pound 250, keyword total traffic when prompted. Acadian Windows, your hurricane protection specialists.
Now, here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Gold. That's gold. Enter it now at newsradio710.com. The Uncle Henry Show. Weekday afternoons from 5 till 7.
You can't stop idiots from doing idiocracy.
This is the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM. Thank you very, very much for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. I appreciate it very much. Once again, here we are together, me and you, just the two of us trying to figure out what is going on. What is going on in the world around us? Look, there's stuff going on in this world today that is so troubling, that is just continually troubling on so many levels, on the state level, national level, global level, intergalactic level, spiritual level, interdimensional, just every kind of level. But I want to start with something good. Yes. On the Uncle Henry Show today with coverage of the Mobile City Council meeting. With coverage of the Mobile City Council meeting, I've got good news. Yes, you're yearning for good news. That's how I imagine you. I imagine you yearning for something good. Well, I've got it for you. I've got good news for you, especially if you're a Mobilian or if you work in Mobile. If you have anything to do with Mobile, Alabama, I got good news for you from today's Mobile City Council meeting. Now, one of the barometers of the city of Mobile, someone that we look to figure out what is going on, is Mobile citizen activist Sabrina Mass. She's been going to these city council meetings for quite some time. She's been speaking truth to power down there at the Mobile City Council meetings, putting the city on notice in a variety of instances. Sabrina Mass always calling it as she sees it. And today, Mobile citizen activist Sabrina Mass stood before the city of Mobile at the podium at the Mobile City Council meeting, and she proclaimed that ever since the election, you may remember we had a municipal election not too long ago where young Mayor Sparrow was thrust into office along with other city council people. We got new people on the Mobile City Council. We got a new mayor, younger people in there. And now Sabrina Mass, as a barometer of the citizenry, as a citizen activist, Sabrina Mass announced today at the Mobile City Council meeting that there is now, after the election, there is now a good vibe. Yes, there is a good vibe in the city of Mobile. Here briefly is what she had to say.
And I'm going to say this, I'm off key. I've been kind of impressed by the district attorney, the mayors and the city council since the election. I feel a good vibe in the city. Director Graves, I know this off key, but he's public safety. I have been really feeling good. People are feeling good, and we're moving around good in these streets.
She feels.
So I'm not sure what's going on, but it's good.
Yeah, it's good, whatever it is.
I tell you, it's good.
She feels a good vibe. It's a good vibe. Listen. I want you to take these comments and pull them into your mind. Pull these comments into your mind about the good vibe and hold them to your mind and let them absorb into your conscious and subconscious mind. Listen again closely.
Since the election, I feel a good vibe in the city. I have been really feeling good. People are feeling good, and we're moving around good in these streets. So I'm not sure what's going on, but it's good. I promise you. Y'all know if it was bad, I'll tell you. It's good.
All right, it's good. It's a good vibe. Vibe is important. Now, you may think, what do you mean vibe is important? It's important. Vibe is important. You can, look, you in the business community, you know this instinctively. You can work hard on your business. You can get all the right credentials. You can go to all the right schools. You can set everything up by the book, have a good product or service and all that, but if the vibe is off, the vibe is off. You've got to have the good vibe. This is the same in personal relationships. If you're a married person, you can probably tell before you even get into the house if the vibe is bad. You can probably feel it in the driveway if there's not a good vibe. Vibe is important. In Mobile, this ought to be... I hope Visit Mobile was paying attention to the meeting today. They might want to put this into some of their tourism literature as they're trying to entrap all these people from around the country into coming here to spend vacation dollars. Might want to put in there that there's a good vibe. That's important. People look for this. People do look for a good vibe. So this was what wonderful news to hear at the city council meeting that a citizen activist has declared that you can go. What did she say? You can go out into the streets. There's some. One more time, I want to hear. This has to do with moving around in the streets of the city of Mobile, which from time to time you got to be careful. You might get shot or something. But let's listen again. This is good.
Since the election, I feel a good vibe in the city. I have been really feeling good. People are feeling good, and we're moving around good in these streets.
We're moving around good in these streets. Moving around good in these streets with a good vibe. If the vibe is not good, you're not moving around good. You might be moving around. You might even be moving around efficiently, getting from point A to point B, but it can't. You still want the good vibe. So again, I hope Visit Mobile was paying attention to this. I hope maybe other struggling municipalities that have a vibe issue. And maybe you're paying attention. What do they got in Mobile? Now, is it because of a generational shift? She said it was because after the last election, we had our elderly mayor, the beloved Standy Simpson. The elderly mayor did not seek re-election. And the older, sour councilman, Joel Daves, who did an excellent job. His elderliness is gone, so you have two of those elderly people out of there. William Carroll, not old, but certainly can affect a vibe. He's not there. Did it only take just three politicians? Did it just take young Mayor Spiro and the new council people Ingram and Fleming? Is that what it took? Is it because they're younger? Did that affect the vibe? We need to look into this. I don't know if you have anybody who would you call to study vibe? I don't know. By the way, if the city would like to hire me as a consultant, I think we could work something out. Anyway, I've got coverage of the council meeting. You can hear the vibe as the Uncle Henry Show continues. But first, we have traffic, weather, and words from our sponsors on a wonderful day in the city of Mobile.
Time saver traffic from the Main Street Flooring and Design.com Traffic Center.
Watch for a crash with road blockage on North W Street at Beverly Parkway in Pensacola. Also, we've got a crash in Mobile, Schillinger Road at Ziegler Boulevard. Slow on Highway 59. From I-10 to Gulf Shores, it's a 49-minute drive. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Lisa Baque.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. It's time.
YouTube viewers, if there's anybody looking, hello to you. Yes, I see a small number of viewers. Hello to Bama Big Man, Rick Henry, Spencer Smith, the aggressive drummer out there drumming in them Mardi Gras parades. The Love Freak 69, Larry Morting, John Daniel. Hey, JD, keeping your Claire Bear in our thoughts. The flu, unpleasant at best. So praying for your daughter there with the infection. 68-year-old Chris of West Loxley. Tarzan. Thank you all for looking in on the Coast Guard wife. Hello to you. Thank you all for looking in on the program. Going to be back on the radio here in about 3 minutes with more Uncle Henry Show. Now, what can I tell you about? Let me see if I can find some weird news for you. I'm sure I can. Back on the radio in 3 minutes. All right, let's see. A man went to visit his parents in Greece, Dimitris Economou. Visited his parents in Greece, and he was looking around for something to read to his kid, his 7-year-old. And he found a book called Harry the Dirty Dog. And he read the book to his kid. And when he got to the end of the book, he discovered that the book had been checked out of a library in Virginia and had been due back in 1989. So, the reason this is a news story is he took the library book back to he brought it back to this country with him and returned it to the regional library there in Virginia where it belonged. And so they did not even charge him a late fee, but they were very happy that they got their book back after it had been. See, 1989 doesn't sound that long ago to me. Yes, that's a sign of getting older. That doesn't sound like that long ago. All right, there is a man in China. He has gotten a divorce, unfortunately. He was married for 16 years. He decided to get a divorce because they had 3 kids together, and his wife gave birth to their 4th child. And he got a bunch of paternity tests and found out that none of the kids were his. Now, but in China, it's interesting how the law works there. He now has custody of the oldest kids, and his now ex-wife had to give up all of her rights to any possessions, and she has to pay him child support for the 2 kids he's raising that aren't even his kids. I would watch Chinese Divorce Court. If they had that as a TV show, I would watch Chinese Divorce Court. If this is representative of what would happen. Weird.
Is coming. Super sure. Coming soon.
Roll Tide. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
This is the Uncle Henry Show. It is 5:20. Got news headlines coming up in 10 minutes. More coverage for you of today's Mobile City Council meeting. And there was, I'll say that there was a full moon. Speaking of vibes, Sabrina Mass, citizen activist, said that there's a good vibe now in the city of Mobile. And I love hearing that. But there was also a full moon kind of a vibe at today's Mobile City Council meeting, just based on the all the people that talked. There was a lot of hot air today. Lord have mercy. So much hot air at the City Council meeting today. But anyway, let me give you coverage of the meeting, some of the things that happened. First, young Mayor Spiro was back after he had left town. He wasn't there for the last meeting, so he was back. He brought his youthful enthusiasm as a young mayor with children to the council meeting. Here's a little bit of Mayor Spiro, young Mayor Spiro, giving a Mardi Gras update. Just if you were wondering, if you're like many Mobilians who never go down to the parades, but you're wondering, how's it going? Here is a brief young Mayor Spiro update on Mardi Gras.
We had a great start to Mardi Gras this past weekend. Despite freezing and nearly freezing temperatures, thousands turned out over the weekend to kick off the 2026 parading season. I had the honor of serving as the Grand Marshal for the Condé Cavaliers on Friday night, and the crowd was truly incredible. I've heard some estimates, but truly an amazing turnout, a great way to start the Mardi Gras season. As the weather warms up, I think we're in for a really fantastic Mardi Gras season. I want to thank all the parading organizations, all the city employees, and all the revelers who make the magic happen every year for our Mardi Gras. We find everything you need. You can find everything you need to plan your season on our Mardi Gras dashboard. It's on our website, cityofmobile.org/Mardi Gras. That's going to have information on restrooms, ADA accommodations, parade route schedules, and so much more. I do hope you'll join us for some parades. I know a few of my audience members said they were at the parade Friday night. Who was there on Friday? Yeah. They told me they call all the throws.
All right, isn't that nice? The young Mayor Spiro, bringing his youthful enthusiasm to our city and to the city council meetings there. And there was a lot more from Mayor Spiro. I'll get to that a little bit later. I thought you might have been interested in the businessman that wanted to start a business in downtown Mobile with golf carts, having he was at the council meeting last week talking about his plan to provide rides to people in downtown Mobile in golf carts that would be piloted by starving felons. I don't know if you remember this. Mr. Walker mentioned this at the meeting last week. Let's see. If you missed that, here briefly was him telling the council his plan, wanting to get the golf carts. He already has the golf carts ready to go, and then
I got a ton of people on the street that are starving that, need to work, and that's who I was going to work with, so, felons and people that can't get employment.
Starving felons to drive the golf carts?
And that's just all I've got to say. I've got equipment for it. I'm going to get insured for it, so it's just competition's healthy.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. President, I just got a question. Could you tell me again what you said your plan, your intent was that your intent was to employ felons to transport people across our cities? Was that what you meant?
It's like I've got one kid that had a clonidine that was the wrong milligram, was down at Hangout Fest, and they've got a felon over that. I mean, some of the stuff's absurd. I'm not saying, murderers and rapists, which I've had plenty of those in my organization before the police.
He's had plenty of murderers and rapists in his organization, I think he said.
Can we got, I've had one guy from America's Most Wanted stay with me 6 weeks in my home. I mean, I've had that element down here, which is not down here right now.
All right, but anyway, he said that he was going to do background checks and not have any really bad. Nobody really bad would be driving the golf carts. So anyway, that was Mr. Walker. He showed up again today because they were going to vote today on his golf cart business, whether or not he could start it up with the starving felons. And he spoke to him, the Mobile City Council, before they voted. This is brief.
I'm Jim Walker. I was here just to speak on behalf of my business license, the Zed LLC, and I was wondering about the vote. If y'all vote, and I read.
Speak a little bit louder. Get a little bit closer to the mic.
Okay. I was here to speak about my business that I proposed last week about the Zed LLC, and I was wondering about the vote, and I read all these comments about the different hours and stuff that the present company's working and Mobtown rides, and I just believe that there's room in the market, and I don't think that the city government should decide on who's in business and who's not as far as a legitimate business. I don't feel that that's the city's place. That's about all I got to say.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right. So, and a lot, by the way, if you've followed any of this on social media, a lot of people on social media agree with Mr. Walker that they would welcome competition and they wouldn't mind being driven around in a golf cart by somebody that might get busted, to use a slang term, got arrested at a hangout festival for the wrong pill or something like that. They would have no trouble riding around in a golf cart with that person. So anyway, he was there. He spoke a few minutes before they voted, and then they had the final vote. Let's listen together the vote on whether or not the starving felon golf cart business will be on the streets of the city of Mobile.
7104, consider the application of Zed LLC for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to operate a golf cart service.
So moved. Second, properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed?
No. Opposed.
Resolution failed. Madam Clerk?
All right, so everybody, it was unanimous no vote on the golf cart thing. So even though the intention sounds pretty noble, you want to employ people that have had some brushes with the law, have paid their price to society, and they're looking for good work. If you are applying for any kind of a business license that involves council approval, one good rule of thumb is don't drop unnecessary details about having a guy from America's Most Wanted in your house, or having previously dealt with murders and rapists, or just these are details that it might be good, but you don't need to show your whole hand when you're up there at the podium. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to give every detail. Not every detail was necessary. So anyway, as of now, there's not going to be a starving felon golf cart business of any kind. But again, remember, there's still a good vibe in the city of Mobile. Back after the break.
From the Spring Hill Toyota Traffic Center.
Watch for an accident on Ziegler Boulevard at Schillinger Road. And we have congestion on Highway 98 from Daphne to I-10. It's a 9-minute drive. West on the Bayway from the Eastern Shore to the tunnel in Mobile. It's a 15-minute drive. And on Highway 31 from Spanish Fort to Highway 59, it's an 18-minute drive. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Lisa Baque.
This report is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Don't let data limits hold you back from being the gift master in the family group chat. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get real unlimited data on Verizon's 5G network. Straight Talk, available at straighttalk.com or Walmart.
If you see traffic trouble, call the Acadian Windows traffic tip line at pound 250, keyword total traffic when prompted. Acadian Windows, your hurricane protection specialists.
Hello, I'm Cameron Taylor with Fox 10 News. Mobile County's top prosecutor asking the city of Mobile for critical funding. Keith Blackwood wants City Council to approve $1.1 million annually for his office. Now, he says previous temporary funding helped cut a 10,000 case backlog in half and led to double-digit drops in violent crime. But county funding has expired and the state is not stepping up. Without the city's help, Blackwood warns he'll have to lay off prosecutors, reversing public safety gains. Council members appear receptive to their request. They could vote next week. Nearly 24 new officers hitting the streets of Mobile and beyond. They took the oath to protect and serve after completing a 14-week training program. Mobile's police chief says the new recruits will significantly boost department staffing. This means faster 911 response times. While Mobile police receive the majority of new officers, 13 others will join departments in Foley, Loxley, Somerdale, Citronelle, Saraland, Pritchard, and the Mobile County Sheriff's Office. A Mobile County family fighting for tougher laws in Alabama nearly 6 years after their daughter was killed by an impaired driver. Devaney Rooney, a Theodore High School senior, died in a multi-vehicle crash in 2020. The driver was convicted of criminally negligent homicide and served only 4 months in jail. The family is advocating for House Bill 243. It would increase penalties for leaving the scene of a crash and for DUI-related fatalities. I'm Cameron Taylor with Fox 10 News on this iHeart radio station.
This is News Radio 710 WNTM.
Fox News, I'm John Saucier. Following a days-long partial government shutdown, President Trump spoke from the Oval Office today where he signed federal spending legislation reopening the government.
The bill officially ends all taxpayer subsidies for radical far-left woke programming on NPR and PBS, just a waste of money.
Congress passing that government funding package through September 30th. Homeland Security is running on just 2 weeks of funding, though. This while lawmakers negotiate the terms of ICE reform. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, are you confident there can be a deal that gets done before those 2 weeks are up?
If Leader Thune negotiates in good faith, we can get it done. We expect to present to the Republicans a very serious, detailed proposal very shortly.
Democrats want accountability for ICE agents after the deadly shootings of 2 protesters in Minneapolis. America is listening to Fox News.
YouTube viewers, if you're still watching, hello to you. Thank you for looking in on the YouTube. Let me see. Let me double check. Back on the radio here in about 2.5 minutes. Hello to Pat Nelly. Pat Nelly, Stephen Breeling. Spencer Smith, yes, that is the same Jim Walker. Extremely interesting guy. Just because of the history, he knows a lot of Mobile history from having properties and businesses in downtown Mobile back before everybody else wanted to have a business down there. Very interesting fellow. Richard Harvey, nice to see Richard Harvey looking in. Thank you for looking in on the program. Oh, and you mentioned 68-year-old Chris. You mentioned DeMond Wilson. You know, I need to talk about him because I did interview him once here in Mobile, Alabama, son of Sanford and Son. I have to slip that into the show. Talk about my encounter with the son from Sanford and Son. Now, going to be back on the radio here in about a minute. I saw in the weird news today, there is a YouTuber that has created a flying umbrella. It's an umbrella that's on a drone that will fly above your head. So you don't have to hold the umbrella. It just will hover over your head. And it knows it has a camera on you. And so it makes sure it just follows you, using the camera to follow you. A flying umbrella that knows to follow you around and stay over your head. That's, I don't think I'd want one. But for the person that has too much, that would be the perfect gift for the person that has way too much garbage.
On News Radio 710, WNTM.
This is the Uncle Henry Show. It's 5:35. You can also hear me play country music on FM radio every weekday, Monday through Friday. You can hear me on 95 KSJ from 10 to 2. Playing today's hottest country. Tomorrow in the 10 a.m. hour, between 10 and 11, I'll have your chance to win tickets to see Rascal Flatts in concert at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum in Biloxi on February 19th. Your chance to win tickets with me on 95 KSJ tomorrow. Be listening right after 10 o'clock to find out how to win them tickets if you're interested. There's more from today's City Council meeting I can get to for you, but I do have a live caller, 251-479-2723. Hello, caller.
Hey, Henry, Jimmy the Economist.
Jimmy, you are live on the radio.
Pardon me for misunderstanding and speaking of country. Did I hear you discussing Brian Wilson prior to the last break?
Brian Wilson?
Good vibrations.
Oh, I didn't. I was talking about, no, it was local citizen activist Sabrina Mass. She now says Mobile has a good vibe. Mobile's got a good vibe now.
Need to preface that with Brian Wilson.
Okay.
Because he already owns that line.
He does.
Speaking of the city of Mobile, all these Mardi Gras, this is as an outsider, all these Mardi Gras organizations without the Civic Center, where are they holding all their events this year?
Different spots. I'm not really. I have not been invited to a lot this year, so I really don't know. But there a lot here and there and everywhere.
Suffice to say that it's working out pretty fine for them, or are they complaining, or do they really need the Civic Center to hold balls, or is they doing just fine without it?
Well, last year I heard different complaints when they were looking for other places to do their balls. So I'm sure that if they didn't know that they were building them a new facility, there'd probably be more complaints. But I'm not I don't have my finger on the pulse of Mardi Gras. I'm not in with the Mardi Gras crowd the way I should be.
Well, I guess if you can get a lower rate from the city when the new one's built, because the taxpayer's going to be paying for most of it, I guess that's a good thing for the Mardi Gras organization, but not necessarily for the taxpayer, because they got to compete with the events, the country music event you mentioned over there in Biloxi, Morgan Wallen. Mobile's going to have to compete. Was it Morgan Wallen?
It was Rascal Flats.
Rascal Flats.
Yes.
Mobile's going to have to compete with that to stay afloat.
Well, that's
but if you know the history of that place, it had never stayed afloat.
Well, that is, I've been asking a lot of people in the concert industry about it. And we'll all find out together, Jimmy, as to whether or not you can get those big acts to come to Mobile the way they used to.
Yeah. Well, the good vibrations in Mobile might be that Buffett Museum they're working on down there, the old Gulf Quest. Maybe they should put some signs out on the interstate and tell people to come there and check it out. But, you know, Mobile, like I do, there's nowhere to park. I mean, what are you going to do? Come off interstate and do UE straight to the Gulf Quest? It's inaccessible. It's just it's horrible getting to it. And nobody ever wanted to go to it when it was a museum anyway. But I'm thinking this Buffett thing might turn a few heads down there. So I think that is the good vibrations of Mobile right now.
All right.
So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Have a good day.
Thank you, Jimmy. I thank you very much for your input. I love, as a talk show host in Mobile, some of my favorite calls are the constructive criticism calls from out of town about Mobile. I love it, especially when there's a local election. All right, let's see. Mobile City Council meeting. One more thing for you from the council meeting that has been in the news a lot, and that is that the mayor has asked the Mobile City Council to give some money every year for the next 3 years to the DA's office, even though it is the job of the state of Alabama to fund the DA's office. But young Mayor Spiro is asking the city council to give the DA's office some money over the next 3 years. And from today's meeting, it sounded like the council was leaning in that direction. If you want to hear all that was said, you can watch the city council meeting on YouTube, because the mayor talked about it. The district attorney went to the meeting today and talked at the meeting at length about the need for the cash. So you can get a complete coverage of that just from watching that on YouTube. Here real quick is young Mayor Spiro briefly talking to the city and to the council about his request for giving the DA's office some cash.
I want to address something that we had a lot of discussion about in pre-council, something that I'm thankful that the council is considering. But on today's agenda, you're going to see an agreement with the district attorney's office to provide $1.1 million annually over the next 3 years to help fund their office. This represents some critical support for our local prosecutors that will help prevent trial delays, and it'll keep violent criminals off the street. Like you, council, we would like to see the DA fully funded without city dollars. They're a state agency, and to my knowledge, the only state agency statewide that is not fully funded by the state. However, I don't think we can afford to sit on the sidelines on this important issue. We cannot let our public safety suffer until we find that permanent solution. 60% of the DA's cases come from right here in the city, and and our city would feel the brunt of these cuts that would occur should we not choose to approve this funding. As a judge, as a prosecutor, I learned that.
All right, and I'm pausing there just to say this is something that young Mayor Spiro does speak with some experience about because he's been a judge and a prosecutor, now a mayor.
Public safety, the criminal justice system, it is truly an ecosystem. And if any one part of that system is hurting, whether it be the police, the courts, or the prosecutors, the whole system suffers. The community suffers. So I'm thankful for the council's consideration of this. I look forward to seeing this approved, and I certainly look forward to working with each one of you and, of course, our district attorney to find a long-term solution that doesn't require so much input from the city. That's the end of my comments. I do want to welcome so many of the guests we have here today. I apologize that I have to slide out, but we are graduating 39 new members from the Police Academy today, and I've agreed to go speak there, so I hope it's a wonderful meeting. I hate to miss it. Ben, are you glad I'm going? Thank y'all. I hope you have a wonderful week.
I just enjoyed. You can hear the good vibe. You can just hear the good vibe there that we got in the city of Mobile
Since the election, I feel a good vibe in the city.
So, and then after young Mayor Spiro had his say about the cash, then the district attorney, he spoke at length at the council meeting. All of that available for you on the Mobile City Council's YouTube channel. And you can see, it sounds like members of the council are also in on this, or many of them are. So, and they may vote on this next week, on giving the DA's office that cash. Although it seemed to be that everybody in agreement on the fact that the state really ought to be funding the DA's office fully, and they shouldn't have municipalities have to step up like this. Now, I don't know if that'll translate to any action in Montgomery. But there is now a lot of looking to Montgomery to fix the situation. All right, there's more Uncle Henry Show to come, but got to take a timeout for traffic, weather, and words from our sponsors. Back with more Uncle Henry Show after the break.
Watch for an accident being cleared in Pensacola, North W Street at Beverly Parkway. We also have word of a grass fire, Moffett Road at Blackwell Nursery Road. Also an accident in the left lane on the Bayway westbound approaching Battleship Parkway. From the Eastern Shore to the tunnel, it's a 20-minute delay. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Lisa Baque.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Guess what? Discover's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. You heard right, 99%. If you don't think so, maybe it's time to face facts. You're stuck in the past. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report, learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
If you see traffic trouble, call the Acadian Windows traffic tip line at pound 250, keyword total traffic when prompted.
All right, YouTube viewers, let me check and see if anybody's still watching. Yes, I see Norman Richardson. Stephen Breland. So, Stephen Breland, what will happen with Senator Tuberville? This stuff about him not really living in Alabama that could end up in a lawsuit. You know, if that ends up in a lawsuit, I hope they're taking it seriously. Because we've had some weird stuff with some elections in this state over the last 10 to 20 years. I wouldn't be surprised if something really weird happened in that lawsuit. Would not be surprised at all. And let me see what I can tell you while waiting to go back on the radio. Going to go back on the radio here in just a few minutes. I don't know if you saw the video or not. I did by accident. But there was some boxing at Madison Square Garden this past weekend, and one of the boxers was wearing a hairpiece. Did you see this? That was an outstanding hairpiece. It did not look like the guy was wearing a hairpiece, but his opponent just knocked the you-know-what out of him. Repeatedly, he was being pummeled about the head, and the pummeling knocked his hairpiece loose. Now, I didn't know the story behind it. I just saw the video and thought it was really weird because it was a very, I mean, I would never have dreamed the guy was wearing a hairpiece. Now, after the fight, the boxer that lost his hairpiece said that he thought he was using shampoo at his mother's house 2 days earlier, but it was actually ammonia bleach, and he claims that he somehow bleached his hair off or something and felt like he needed to have a hairpiece. That's pretty good. If you can get an excellent hairpiece that quickly, he must have a lot of money, I guess. And by the way, he still won the fight. Split decision, even though he had fake hair. Let's see, what else can I tell you? Is there anything else I can tell you? Today was Golden Retriever Day. And today also National Carrot Cake Day. That made me think of Bama Big Man. National Carrot Cake Day. All right, let's see. Back on the radio here in about 15 seconds with a little bit more Uncle Henry Show.
Wherever you get your podcasts. Available everywhere with the iHeartRadio app. Now #1 for podcasting. This is News Radio 710, WNTM, an iHeartRadio station.
This is the Uncle Henry Show. 5:50, news headlines coming up in 10 minutes, and then more Uncle Henry Show. Again, all the stuff I've talked about this hour, you can learn much more by just watching the City of Mobile's YouTube channel and see the city council meeting. You can also watch their pre-council meeting. Some of it is very interesting. Other parts of it may help you get to sleep if you have any sleep issues, if you have trouble falling asleep. The city council meetings are outstanding for putting one into a state of sleep. But the most important, if you missed the beginning of the show, we got a wonderful report today from Mobile citizen activist Sabrina Mass, who says that since the election of young Mayor Spiro, and getting the new council members, Ingram and Fleming, now Mobile has a good vibe since the last, a good vibe since the last election.
Since the election, I feel a good vibe in the city. I have been really feeling good. People are feeling good, and we're moving around good in these streets. So I'm not sure what's going on, but it's good. I promise you. Y'all know if it was bad, I'll tell you. It's good.
All right, this is good, because then I believe her. I believe everything she said, that she is feeling the good vibe, that people are moving through the streets with a good vibe feeling, and that it's good. In fact, I may need to reach out to her just on once every 2 weeks for a vibe check. So where's our vibe? Is there a good vibe, bad vibe? Where is it? Vibe check. And if I can, who knows, maybe I can get it sponsored. That'd be wonderful. All right, let's see. Before I'm out of time in this segment of the Uncle Henry Show, I wanted to, somebody watching on YouTube, and the 5 o'clock hour of the Uncle Henry Show I put on YouTube every day just so younger people can watch an old man struggle on camera. One of the YouTube viewers, I think it was 68-year-old Chris of West Loxley, mentioned the passing of Son from Sanford & Son, DeMond Wilson, the actor DeMond Wilson. He passed away January 30 at age 79. And I did notice on social media over the last several days, including today, I'm seeing lots of Sanford & Son clips on social media. And I just wanted to mention that I did have the opportunity to meet and interview Son, DeMond Wilson. He was in Mobile back in 1989 or 1990. And I also, during that time, interviewed a lot of people, including Dot Moore, the late, great Dot Moore, Alabama Broadcasting Hall of Fame member Dot Moore. And I remember asking her, back when I was back in 1989, asking Dot Moore, who was the best person, the best interview, who did she enjoy interviewing the most, and who did she enjoy interviewing the least in her career. And so Dot Moore told me that the person that she enjoyed interviewing the most was DeMond Wilson, son of Sanford & Son. She said he was so wonderful. He was just kind and sweet and was just a great interview. She just loved talking to DeMond Wilson of Sanford & Son. And then I asked her, well, what big celebrity was the most difficult celebrity to interview? And Dot Moore, the Hall of Famer, Dot Moore told me that the most difficult interview of her career was Red Fox. She said that Red Fox was a terrible interview and that Red Fox asked her who was the next person she was going to interview, because she was out on the West Coast and she was interviewing a bunch of different celebrities all on the same day so that she could play the interviews on WALA TV 10. And she said that she told Red Fox wanted to know who's coming up next. And she said, Valerie Harper, the actress Valerie Harper. So she said that Red Fox got out a cigar and started smoking it up as fast as he could so that there would be a bunch of cigar smoke there. He knew that Valerie Harper didn't like cigars, and so he wanted the place to stink of his cigar when Valerie Harper came out. So anyway, Dot Moore did not like interviewing Red Fox. So if you were to ask me who was the most difficult interview in my career, I would tell you it was DeMond Wilson, son of Sanford & Son. Yes, he was very difficult to interview. And the reason was right before he sat down with me, he asked Ron Golnick, the guy that ran the Uncle Henry Show, DeMond Wilson asked Ron Golnick, tell me about Uncle Henry. And Ron Golnick said, oh, Uncle Henry, he's just a white red fox.
Fox on Tech.
As return fraud surges, companies are now...
YouTube viewers, thank you for watching. Going to turn the camera off. There's more show after the break on AM radio. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant evening and a pleasant tomorrow.